Good morning, Governor Nyeri County. You know, we call you the Governor Kamubaya. And you can see it's coming to light. But as the chair says, this is still the upper house. My name is Senator Tabitha Mutembei, and a member of this committee. Karibuni sana.
Sabal heri mstahiki gavana na wenzio. Kwa majina ni Bi Miraji Abdullahi, mwana kamati. Asante.
Good, thank you, Chair and Governor. My name is William Kisang, Senator Elgeyo Marakwet County, and a member and also an elder that we requires to be consulted.
So members, what signals are you sending? My name is Godfrey Osotsi, Senator Vihiga County and the chairperson.
Yusuf Shumai, clerk to the committee.
Ngunyi Deputy Clerk to the committee.
Eric Mali, clerk to the committee.
Godfrey Nyeri, clerk to the committee.
Zainab Jerma, legal counsel to the committee.
Channel, I'm recording for the handset. I am with the research officer.
Yeah, just what media relations officer.
Julia Kashoki, Sergeant Tata.
Can we now have our partners, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm Alex Ndogo, Deputy Director of Audit, Nyeri Region Office.
Good morning, I'm Cyprian Kinot, Principal Auditor Office of the Auditor General, Nyeri Region Office. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, honorable members, Your Excellency the Governor. My name is Mark Ashanja, Office of the Auditor General, Legislative Relations Office. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Dr. Jackson Dungo from the National Treasury. Thank you.
COB is not here yet. Okay, so now, Governor, it's your turn. Please introduce yourself, and then you lead the introduction on your end.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I have a number of officers with me, considering we have 5 hospitals that form the basis of today's meeting. I will ask them to introduce themselves first, but I think all of us know me as Governor Mutahi Kahiga, not as what Tabi has just said, Honorable Tabi has said. So I invite them to introduce themselves, and even the ones at the back.
Thank you, Chair, and Your Excellency and members. My name is Dr. Joseph Maina Kirago. I'm the County Executive Member for Health Services and Public Health, Nyeri County.
Chair, I'm Ibrahim Aden, Chief Officer, Health Services.
Chair, my name is Robert Gumwangi, CC Finance, ICT, Nyeri County.
Chair, my name is Kimani Rushoya, the County Attorney.
Chair and His Excellency, I'm James Maina, I'm a Senior Accountant for Nyeri PGH Hospital.
Chair, I'm Shaban Mwangi, Accountant on Kenya Hospital. Chair and honorable members, my name is Dr. Charles Dirangu, Medical Superintendent, Mount Kenya Hospital.
Chair, His Excellency, and honorable members, I'm Dr. Nelson Muriu, the Director of Health Services, Nyeri.
Chair, His Excellency the Governor, my name is Paul Wambogo, Chief of Staff, Nyeri County.
Chair, His Excellency the Governor, honorable members, my name is Kelvin Kibara, also Director, Karatina Hospital. Chair, my name is James Maina, Counter Nyeri.
Chair, I'm John Nganga. I'm accountant Karatina Hospital.
Chair, my name is Catherine Wanjiko Thu. I'm an accountant Mukurweini Hospital.
Chair, I'm Duncan Kagua, Medical Superintendent of Mukurweini Sub-County Hospital.
Chair, His Excellency and honorable members, my name is Dr. George Kiongo, Medical Superintendent of the Sub-County Hospital.
Chair, my name is Miriam Dirangu for Accountant Udaya.
Chair, my name is Pauline Kamau.
You can stand up so that people can see your face.
My apologies. My name is Dr. Pauline Kamau, Medical Superintendent at Rumoro Level 4 Hospital.
Chair, my name is Caroline Geshoke, working in the Department of Health as a Deputy Director in charge of administration.
Chair and our Governor, His Excellency, honorable members, my name is Nancy Mushira, Accountant, Mount Kenya Hospital.
Chair and honorable members, my name is Eric Ndongo Kariuki, Accountant, Mukurweini Sub-County Hospital.
Through the chair, just a clarification. Do we have superintendent for Karatina Sub-County Hospital?
I think I'm told because of space, some officers are outside, and they'll be introduced before we start any of the hospitals. So maybe, Governor, you can alert us who are the new faces as we go on.
Chair.
Yeah. No, the mic is not working.
I'm Peter Munywa, Medical Superintendent at Karatina Hospital.
Very well.
Elias Gule, Accountant, Nalmore Hospital.
Just leave it there. I think when we handle each hospital, the new faces will be introduced as we go on, because of space.
But just to clarify through the chair, Sergeant Atam, it's only those two members who are lacking seats. They're just trying to get some chairs. We just squeeze because they are the only two so that they can follow.
Okay, so honorable members, I think we go to agenda 3, which is administration of oath of witness and the tabling of documents. And the Governor, on behalf of your county, kindly lead us into this.
I, Mwalimu Mutahi Kahiga, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me, O God. Mr. Chairman, I hereby table the following documents before the committee. Our management responses and accompanying annexures on the Nyeri Provincial General Hospital for financial years 2021-2022, the Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital for financial years 2021-2022, the Odaya Sub-County Hospital for financial years 2021-2022, the Karatina Sub-County Hospital for financial years 2021-2022, and the Mukurweini Sub-County Hospital for financial years 2021-22, which are already received, I think. I believe.
Very well. Maybe can I find out from the auditors, did you have an opportunity to go through the responses within the stipulated time frame, and whether the responses are in the format and quality to be considered by this committee?
Thank you, Chair. We received the responses on 16th, last Monday. We had a discussion with the client, and they're in the correct format, we can proceed. What I would want to highlight to the committee is that this is the first year of audit, and there are a number of issues that are cross-cutting. Basically, issues of first-time adoption, documentation, full autonomy, and capacity. These run through the 5 entities, but we'll get to them as we deliberate on each. Thank you, Chair.
Our clerk.
Chair, I confirm the Office of Clerk received the documents within the set timelines. We have gone through them and we are ready to proceed.
Okay, so honorable members, we are going to consider the reports for 5 health institutions for the year 2021-2022, and this is for Nyeri County Referral Hospital, the Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital, Odaya Sub-County Hospital, Karatina Sub-County Hospital, and Mukurweini Sub-County Hospital. 5 hospitals. And I am guided that we start with Mount Kenya Hospital, Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital. Sorry, I'm guided that we start with Nyeri Referral Hospital. Yes.
Chair, I wanted to give a proposal. You heard what the auditor said. Among all across the 5 hospitals, there are some cross-cutting issues. So I thought maybe the auditor should tell us all the cross-cutting issues, and then we discuss those issues using one hospital as a model, and then now we can do the unique issues for each of the hospitals.
Okay, I think that makes sense for the purpose of managing time. So what we will do is that we will ask the auditor to give us a status of each report. We identify the issues, and then we can now merge the issues so that we can manage time. But before we do that, 2 issues. One, the 2 members who have joined us, I will request that you put yourself on record. Senator Gisheru.
Okay. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Committee. Good morning, Governor, together with your team. Nice to see you always. Eddie Gisheru Okech is my name. Senator from Migori County and a member of the committee.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Excellency Karibu. My name is Senator Hamida Kibana, member of this committee.
Very well. Karibuni sana. So the second item, before I ask the auditor to come in, I am in receipt of a letter dated 21st August 2024 to the Senate, Clerk of the Senate. No, sorry. The letter dated 23rd November 2023 from the Office of the Governor to the Office of the Auditor General, raising concerns about the audit reports for level 4 and level 5 hospitals. I think this is also in line with what auditor said, that being the first audit, there could have been issues which required further consideration. So in that case, we would ask the governor to shed light on this communication before we begin.
Thank you, Chair, honorable members. Indeed, we made an appeal, and like the auditor, the Office of the AOG has said, this was the first time the audit was being carried out in our hospitals. Standard procedure was not followed, and standard procedure is that there is always an entry meeting and an exit meeting. I do not want to speak on behalf of the office of AOG, but we noted like the team that just came, landed in hospitals, did their audits without first involving our office, that is the headquarters. Further to that, even responses that were given and to the auditors were not considered, and that forms the basis of this letter, because many of the I think two opinions were adverse, and that is why we really made this appeal, to which the Auditor General also wrote back. But my thinking and my conviction is that this was definitely going to happen, considering it was the first time that some of these accountants were encountering auditors. And so whatever we may have within, and what the Auditor General has said, cutting area, issues that cut across maybe can be discussed, but we will look at them as we progress. We have made a lot of progress. Also, Chair, to inform me, because I think we have also ensured at that particular time, I think some of the accountants were running 2 hospitals or something. Today, we have made sure that we have at least an accountant per hospital running that particular hospital, and we hope to progress from there. So we had requested a number of things, but we were merely saying that I think that audit was we were ill prepared, and it was also not done as it should be, and we were requesting that it be done and be considered as it should be. I submit.
Okay, very well. I've also seen a response to that letter dated 8 February 2024 by the Auditor General to the Governor, and maybe Mark or one of your team members can say something about this, and then I would give directions.
Yes, Chair, indeed there was a response given by the Auditor General, and I think the Auditor General, the concern was to do with the opinion, and the Auditor General confirms that the opinion is as is. However, Chair, maybe the important point is that the Auditor General says that my office is open for consultation and guidance on various aspects, and my staff are available to answer questions, to do all possible within the constitutional mandate of the office to assist public sector entities transition. Chair, that is the challenge that was there then. We wish to confirm that being the first audit, they might not have been very aware of the provisions of the Audit Act, which we have been guiding them through. For example, Chair, Section 633 has timelines for which they must give a response to ML. If that timeline is not met, then we have to proceed and do a report. So, Chair, I think as alluded to, and I think even the Auditor General has said, as auditors, we are also guiding them on the provisions of the Act and what's expected. Maybe if the Director has a point to add.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe quoting some of the paragraphs in the response, the Auditor General says that kindly note that the opinion was as a result of pervasive and explained differences and omissions in the financial statements, and not failure to conform to the accrual basis of accounting on the recognition of assets and liabilities in line with IPSAS 33 and the development of accounting policies and estimates. Again, the other paragraph indicates that the issues raised were communicated in both the management letters and draft audit reports. The final opinion was based on the verification of responses received. The responses, however, did not address the issues raised in both the management letters and the draft audit reports. So the issues came basically from the responses that we received, and not from the first time adoption of the IPSAS 30, as indicated in IPSAS 33. Basically, it was a question of timelines. But what I want to say is that we have improved from there. The county government has also improved, And we are hoping that the audit that is before us, this will be the third year of audit, and quite a number of issues will be addressed. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I understand that. I think I must fully agree that the first year of audit has issues, not just for Nyeri County, but even the other counties that we have seen. And we must have a basis. So since Senate has decided to review the audit report for hospitals, we will proceed as it is and handle case by case as we go on. Then I'm sure 2022, 2023, those issues have been sorted out. 2023, 2024, again, those issues would have been sorted out. So we will proceed with the report as they are, and in case of any matter arising on any issue, we'll be able to address it as we go on. Senator Kisang had suggested that since the issues are cross-cutting, in order to manage time, we look at the issues globally. So I think I agree with that. But before we do that, we will have a scan through the reports led by the auditor, who will give us the status, the overall status of the report, and then you proceed to indicate to us the status of each query. Then after that, we'll be able to know what issues are cross-cutting so that we can deal with them globally. So, Auditor, we can now begin with the Nyeri Referral Hospital, and then you proceed to Mount Kenya, and then you proceed to the others. So, members, you can get the report for Nyeri. So the auditor, please take us through the report.
Thank you, Chair. This is the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nyeri Provincial General Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. The overall opinion is adverse. We go to paragraph number 1. We had errors in presentation and disclosure in the financial statement. The issue has been addressed. We go to paragraph number 2, inaccuracies and inconsistencies in the...
So, before you proceed,
yes, yeah.
Your members get it very clearly, errors in presentation and disclosure in financial statement. Auditor says the matter is addressed. Auditor says the matter is addressed, but I think this is a matter that we need to give an interim recommendation. So the clerk, please, on this matter, give the member of the broad-based government. Can you come and sit this side? Don't sit among the staff. Come and sit this side. And proceed to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. Professor Tom Ojena, Senior Counsel, Vice Chair of this committee, and a member of the broad-based government. Welcome to the meeting, Governor Nyeri. I hope Murima iko sawa na karibu.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Okay, so I was saying that we'll give an interim recommendation on this, even though auditor says it's addressed. Auditor, proceed to the next issue.
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph number 2 is inaccuracies and inconsistencies in the financial statement. The issue is partially addressed.
So partially, when you say partially, please briefly explain.
Thank you, Chair. what we mean is that though the responses have been verified and the amendments to the financial statements are subject to confirmation in the audit that we have planned.
So again, we'll give a recommendation on that. Proceed.
We have paragraph number 3, lack of a trial balance. The issue is not addressed. Paragraph number 4, we have unbalanced statement of financial position. The issue is partially addressed as the amendments are subject to confirmation in the audit that we'll carry out. We have number 5, paragraph number 5, unaccounted for revenue. The issue has been addressed as we have verified and confirmed the position. We go to paragraph number 6, unsupported expenditure. The issue is partially addressed as verification of the payment vouchers is yet to be done. We have paragraph number 7, unclassified expenditure. The issue is partially addressed as the response has been verified, but the breakdown of the grants and the subsidies has not been availed. We go to paragraph number 8. We have inaccuracies in cash and cash equivalent. The issue has been addressed. We go to other matter, budgetary control and performance. The issue is not addressed. We go to the report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources. We have failure to maintain a revenue cash book. The issue is partially addressed as we have verified the response, but we have confirmed that the response is inadequate. We have irregular procurement of food and ration. The issue is partially addressed as the response provided was found not to be adequate. We have paragraph number 3, failure to submit bank reconciliation statements. The issue is partially addressed, and we'll confirm this in the audit that we have planned. We have the issue number 4, paragraph number 4, unbalanced budget. The issue is not addressed. We go to the report on effectiveness of internal controls, risk management and governance. We have medical and clinical costs. The issue is not addressed. We have under paragraph 1, we have the lack of usage trail in pharmaceuticals. The issue is not addressed. We have 1.2, lack of usage trial on laboratory chemicals and reagents. Again, the issue is not addressed. We have 1.3, lack of usage trail on food and ration. The issue is not addressed. Paragraph 2, we have inadequate staffing of health workers. The issue has not been addressed. And finally, we have non-optimal equipping levels at the hospital. The issue has not been addressed. Thank you. That's the summary of the issues for the year for Nyeri Provincial General Hospital.
Can you proceed to Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital?
Yeah, point of order.
Yeah, what's your point of order?
Chair, given that I know we always want to go through all the claims and then be able to sanction them all. But just looking at this being an adverse report and just looking at the constituency in the governance of spoken to the same, do you think it would be in order to just deal with case by case? We deal with the hospital, we finish it, so that in case of pressure of time, which I'm hoping that we won't have, but in case we have it, then at least we finished particular hospitals and then you can be able to come back to that. Just a thought. I don't know what to do.
You know, the auditor had explained that these issues are cross-cutting. So the Senator for Elgeyo Marakwet requested that since the issues are cross-cutting, we look at global issues affecting the 5 hospitals, and then we can deal with them. So we agreed to that. That's why we said we do a scan through the reports, and then now make a decision on how we are going to proceed. But also taking into account that Nyeri referral hospital seems to be a report of interest. So what we are doing now is that we are scanning for the issues that we want to consider globally, but with a focus on Nyeri referral hospital. Yes, Senator Gender.
I'm wondering, is it that the issues were not addressed then, or is it that they are not addressed now? Are there, between the time the response was written and now, are there any developments? Because it's not possible that everything is not addressed. Because clearly it means either you didn't sit down with the team or there's just a problem, as worse as the report may be. I'm just wondering, because I thought some of these issues look like they should have been addressed. Because clearly, you must have engaged. This is a county with staff. You must speak unless there's something just very, very wrong, incompetent. Because it can't be that auditor. Everything is unaddressed. I mean,
Chair.
Yes.
Thank you so much. If I'll just echo Senator Eddie's concern. We have 5 superintendents, hospital superintendents, and the issues that are cutting here are not even the governor's issues, they are management issues. So it would be wise to audit each hospital and getting response from the management of those hospitals, because I believe different hospitals have got different issues. And I think you started with Nyeri, since I think it's the biggest hospital. The concerns that Vice Chair is raising had earlier been addressed. That's where we started. You know, if you came late, this issue of being in broadband, you need to come early. So if we could just now save time and start narrowing to looking at the issues that are already here.
Chair, just to stress that very fast. And please call Senator Kahiga to order. I mean, Senator just arrived from New York to move to Nyeri for us, but that's another thing. This is the thing, Chair. I think that, you know, if you're looking at Nyeri, and there are multi-year reports in Nyeri Provincial Hospital, and then there are cross-cutting issues across those years, it would be okay to scan through all those multi-year problems. But if you're looking at different hospitals with different management, even if the issues are cross-cutting, the constituent factors may be fundamentally different. And therefore, we might end up having a flow audit whereby responsibilities of different managements were different. And therefore then putting the governor in a very awkward situation, because it would present a bias where you feel like it is the governor's mistake in some of those cross-cutting issues. So yes, there could be cross-cutting issues, but management must be held liable for each and every hospital in their own. So I will just propose we go one by one for each hospital, even if there are cross-cutting issues. Unless that hospital has cross-cutting issues across the years, then that would make more sense for me.
Well, members, you know, your chair is very flexible. That decision was made on the basis of time management, but the Secretariat actually anticipated that we have this challenge because we are dealing with 5 hospitals. So that is why in the afternoon we don't have any meeting. So that if there is any possibility that this meeting will end way past 2 o'clock, the chair is energetic enough, and I'm sure the governor is also energetic enough, and the members here are energetic enough, will be able to deal with all the reports. So I think I will cede to your request that we start with Nyeri and then progressively we see how we manage the rest. So let's start with Nyeri. But we are only handling issues which are not addressed. Yeah, issues which are not addressed. We have the issue on errors in presentation and disclosure of financial statement. Auditor says is addressed, but we have said we will give a recommendation. Then the issue in accuracies and inconsistency in financial statement, the matter is partially addressed. Maybe this one I will require the auditor to indicate to the members what has not been addressed in this query. Because you know, when we see inaccuracies, there is a member here who will start asking, who is the accountant? What is the ISPAC number? So we need to know what is outstanding in this matter.
Thank you, Chair. In the response of the client, there were amendments that were done to the various aspects which we raised in we had the issue of statement of financial performance, we had disclosure, we had the statement of financial performance again. We had quite a number of issues on inaccuracies and inconsistencies in the financial statements. We had, again, the statement of financial performance, and basically the amendments have been done, but we need to go to the source documents. We need to look at the journal entries. We need to look at the ledgers. And the issue, again, is tied up to observation number 3, where at the time, trial balance was not provided. So basically, we have to do an in-depth audit on the various aspects of the inaccuracies, Chair.
So are you trying to say you need more time on those issues?
Thank you, Chair. We have planned the audit for 23-24 in the coming months, once the financial statements are submitted to us on 30th September next week, and this is the time that we'll confirm the various aspects of the inaccuracies, Chair.
Okay, so because now we have several issues that were amended. We have inaccuracies and inconsistency in financial statement. We have an unbalanced statement of financial position. We have unsupported expenditure, which you said you want to verify the vouchers. We have unclassified expenditure, which required further verification. And then now you are saying all this affected the trial balance.
Yes.
Is that the position?
Yes, Chair. What I want to highlight to the committee is that the trial balance has been provided this morning, and basically the trial balance captures all the various components of the financial statements. And without a trial balance, this is the main observation that resulted in an adverse opinion. So we need to go back to the various aspects of the balances as provided in the trial balance, Chair.
Yeah, the members who have just joined us, before we started, there was an appeal from the governor to the Auditor General on the matter of there having been some inconsistencies in the audit process, which the auditor has confirmed that being the first audit, there were challenges. So I think, to be fair, we will allow them to go and verify the amendments that have been made of this account when they are doing 2023-2024 audit, which we will have an opportunity to look at, so that now we deal with only matters which are indicated here as not addressed. Pardon? Use the mic, please. If you have an issue, use the mic.
We are requesting as a committee if we could just now directly go to the specific matter and we start engaging.
Yeah. So that this is for matters which are partially addressed, and the only reason why they are partially addressed is that the auditor is yet to confirm the amendments they have done in 2023-2024 report. So we will only go to the matters which auditor you have indicated not addressed, except the trial balance. So we now proceed to issue number 1 is budget control and performance. Budget control and performance.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I go straight to the matter on the budget control and performance. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects receipts budget and actual and comparable basis amounts of 247,577,926 Kenya shillings and 246,271,192 Kenya shillings respectively, resulting in a budget under realization of 1,306,734, which is around 0.5% of the budget. Similarly, the statement reflects an actual expenditure of 221,942,272 Kenya shillings against an approved budget of 247,577,926 Kenya shillings, resulting in underperformance of 25,635,654, which is around 10.4% of the budget. The realization and under-absorption of the budget may impact negatively on service delivery towards achieving universal health care. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
The reason why the final income budget and final expenditure budget did not balance was because the hospital did not achieve its target for revenue.
Auditor, what is your comment on that response?
Thank you, Chair. We evaluated the response, but we noted that the response did not address the issue that we had raised.
So the auditor is saying the response is unsatisfactory.
Chair, maybe then you can allow me to allow Mr. James Maina, who is the accountant, to explain that, because clearly when you make a budget, it's an estimate.
Those sets of documents to verify and submit to us. And the county, you have 14 days on this. And this query also appears, as I said earlier, in the Nyeri referral hospital. Same query. So I think there is a problem with the movement of items once they are procured within the hospitals. That is, they don't go through the store, they are sent in bulk to the user departments, which can be a major risk. Hugely. In fact, it can even lead to a loss because, for example, reagents needs to be handled carefully, properly refrigerated, and if they go to an environment where they are not refrigerated, it becomes a problem. So I think those directions are given. So, honorable members, you said we wanted to go through all the reports, and you remember I said the chair has the energy to take you through all that. So I think let's look at on the query on inadequate storage space that is going to be handled together with what I have just directed. The query on lack of risk management policy, that one we are going to give a recommendation. So we only have two important queries that I want us to cover on this before we conclude on this report. That is non-functional operating theatre and lack of land ownership documents. So let's start with the non-functional operating theatre. Auditor.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
Would non-functional operating theatre also have the same fate as were the issues of capacity that we explored under non-compliance with Kenya Quality Model for Health Policy Guidelines?
No, I think they are not related.
Okay.
They are not directly related. Okay. Because this one touches on issues of renovations that were done, documentation, yeah, all that. Okay. So it's not the same. So let's start with that, Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Number 2, non-functional operating theatre. During the year under review, it was revealed that hospitals operating theatre have not been functional since the year 2018. Though the theatre house was under renovation, no documentation or pre-renovation report was provided on the conditions of the theatre and its equipments, which were still in the same building under renovation. In addition, the hospital does not have theatre surgeons and theatre nurses, and no plans have been put in place to confirm availability after the renovation. This is contrary to Section 153, subsection 1 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which require the accounting officer for a county government entity is responsible for the management of the entity's assets and liabilities and shall manage those assets in such a way as to ensure that the county government entity achieves value for money in acquiring, using, and disposing of those assets. In the circumstances, the theatre's equipments may become damaged, obsolete, resulting to loss of public funds, and the facilities may remain unused due to lack of surgeons and theatre nurses. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, the management response.
Chair, through the Governor, our response is as follows. The theatre was not functional due to lack of theatre staff and some structural defects that made the theatre unfit for usage, as well as the designation of Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital as a COVID-19 isolation center during the pandemic. The hospital management has informed the Department of Health of the structural defects and the staffing needs, including the theatre. Some of these issues has been addressed. The renovation works has been done, and the County Public Service Board conducted interviews for anesthetists and medical officers. The hospital management will continue to lobby for anesthetists and extra medical officers so as to fully operationalize the theatre. The theatre items and equipments were safely stored in one of the rooms in the ward due to lack of enough storage space in the hospital so as to safeguard them from damage.
And it is important, Chair, to add that it is now operational, fully operational as we speak.
Okay, yeah. Auditor, can you confirm that the theatre is now fully operational?
Thank you, Chair. We are going to confirm this in the coming audit, which is scheduled, to confirm whether this theatre is operational. Thank you.
So, but what is your comment on the response?
The response verified is not satisfactory to the extent of that verification. Thank you.
Yeah, so in those 14 days, 14 days, 7 days we have given you. After you have received, you can also visit the hospital and also give us a report.
We will do that.
On Chair. Whether this theatre is now operational. Proceed.
Chair, but the audit query also is not just limited to the operationality of the theatre. It's also to the issue of documentation, because it talks about the potential of loss of funds. Whenever I see that kind of query, I get my antennas high. I want to just ask the question, I guess that will be overtaken by the answer that the theatre is operational. But how much was used in the renovation? And is there a report, a pre-innovation report? I mean, the pre-innovation report and post-renovation report that is available that this committee can be able to get? Because the pre-renovation will tell us what was intended to be renovated, what was the cost estimate for that, whether there was some engineer's estimate or whichever the contractors were, and then afterwards, if it is functional, what is the post-renovation report? Are there any challenges that you still face? Are there areas that were not achieved in terms of the larger scope of work that was in the pre-renovation? Is there incapacity of some areas that still needs further innovation or further equipping? I would want to see that from the report so that we know whether the operationalization is actually optimal to what is supposed to be. So if it's not here, if the governor can tell us whether that report is here, if it's not here, then perhaps it could also comprise the documentation that we want to see other than just the operationality of that theatre when the auditor comes in 14 days.
So, Governor?
Chair, I think it also applies with the assets and liabilities. I think the issue is value for money that has been acquired so far.
Yeah, I think the key issue here has been stated by Eddie, that yes, the theatre was under renovation, but in the absence of documentation and pre and post renovation report, we cannot know what was renovated and at how much. So maybe, Governor, you can clarify on that.
Thank you very much. I think, as has been stated, is that it was under renovation. The documents and the necessary procedures were followed, and they can be presented as part of that. Although I still believe they could form part of the next audit, but they should be prepared. I think they can prepare them and just provide them.
So you provide them to the auditor in the 14 days, and then the auditor will verify and bring the responses. So,
Chair, even as much as the Senate is emasculated for funds, it's past 2 and you're offering us nothing except black coffee.
Right now, under the sheet of
when we started, we said we all have energy, and the governor akasema kama ni mbaya ni mbaya. Sergeant at Arm, take care of the governor.
I don't know what I was speaking for anybody else.
Chair, but
I can see you speaking for Senator Miraj as well.
So anyway, let's go to the last query, which is lack of land ownership document. This one is of interest, Governor. So, Auditor, please.
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph number 5, lack of land ownership documents. Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital sits on 8 acres of land. However, the title deed was not provided to confirm ownership. The land occupied by the hospital could be encroached or allocated for other purposes. Thank you, Chair.
Response?
Thank you.
Shaban,
Chair,
on behalf of the Governor.
Chair, through the Governor. Our response is as follows. The process of acquiring the title deed for the hospital is in process. One of the main challenges the hospital is experiencing is delayed handing over of assets by Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee. The valuation for fixed assets, which covers parcels of land and building, is in progress, and plans are underway to complete the exercise. That is according to the committee.
Auditor, your comment?
A response has been verified and confirmed that the process is ongoing to acquire the title deed. Therefore, the issue has not been addressed, and we request the committee to give direction. Thank you.
So maybe, Auditor, you can tell the committee, how is this asset handled in the books? Is it appearing in the fixed asset register? of the hospital.
The property is not appearing as an asset because now they still don't own it, so it is not legally binding to have it in the books of account when they don't have the ownership title. Thank you.
Just on the same through you, Chair, if the CEO would tell us currently the documents for ownership of the land are under whose names?
I will help him answer that question.
Okay. Yes,
please.
Currently, the title deed is in the name of the trustees of the Mount Kenya Hospital, sub-county hospital. The hospital was run by a body or a group of trustees. Some of them have died, and I think currently we have Duncan Dego and one more who are living. That was in the years, those pre-independence. In our process to try and get it back, we realized, I think it is, the lease is ending in a year or two, something like that. And we opted as a county, because it is us who will now renew the lease, to renew it in the name of the county government. So that is the process that is ongoing.
That's fine, you've clarified, but as far as this audit query in terms of the value and the asset element part of it, it's not being captured.
Yes.
And it's critical because it's part of the hospital assets. So I think the chair, you can give the governor timelines so that they speed up that, so that in the next financial reports, then that can be captured as part of the assets and its value.
Does the governor have a lot of control over that?
You know, because it's a lease.
Yeah.
And the last time we checked with the land department, I was told it is ending in 2 years, which was last year. So it must be ending either this year or coming year. And then we will now do the necessary.
But Governor, you know that in terms of renewal of the leaseholders will have a say.
There is no quorum.
There is no controversy.
There is no controversy, because they were holding it in trust for the people, you know. So it is a there is no issue on that. It's only that we felt now it was going to be a little bit, you know, unnecessary expenditure. So we wait until that time, then we do the necessary, and then it converts to the county government.
Okay, I'm sure maybe in the next audit cycle, 2023, 2024,
yes,
the matter would have been completed.
True.
So hopefully the query would have been addressed by then.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think so. So, Chair,
Yes.
just to clarify that Governor is saying that there's no fear of any reallocation whatsoever.
We are in possession of the entire land. And we have been in communication with that team. In fact, they even wanted to come and hand it over to us. We told them now, with all those intricacies, we would rather wait and then solve it. Just in that kind of way.
Okay, so honorable members, this brings us to the end of Mount Kenya Sub-County Hospital. Now, I want to beg your patience. I know we have 3 more reports to go, but my clerks here has looked at the reports, and we have confirmed the issues are almost similar. The issues are recurring in each of these hospitals. So what we would want to do, we will look at Karatina Sub-County Hospital. Karatina Sub-County Hospital. In Karatina Sub-County Hospital, I wouldn't want to go back to the auditors because the auditor has already given me the report that indicates that the query on inaccuracies in liability is partially addressed and the amendments, like the other reports, are going to be considered in the next audit cycle, that is 2023-2024. Similarly, issues to do with inaccuracies in cash and cash equivalent, partially addressed. Non-compliance public sector accounting standard, same case. We have the issue of non-compliance to universal health care, which is similar to what we saw, the issue of the policy. And then we have the issue on use of casual employees in management of health management information system. That one is not addressed, but the clerk indicates that is a substantial issue that we need to look at. Lack of a risk management policy not addressed, but we will give an interim recommendation. Lack of an internal audit function not addressed, will give an interim recommendation. So for this particular report, we will look at use of casual employees in management of a health management information system, which can also apply to the other hospitals as well. So, Auditor, please read out the query.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, point of order.
Yes. What's your point of order?
You know, the matters of health are very important.
Yes.
And there's some age where the Gen Zs are always keen that they get to ile another kuwa ugonjwa ya sukari. I don't take it lightly that the governor asked for some snacks.
He's sorted, I've been sure.
Good. Have you gotten it? So you devoured it. I didn't see you.
The Eastern in-laws are here. They have ensured Murima is taken care.
I was still going on. I think that the governor is not the only person who is suffering.
Any other person who is suffering, just carry up your hand.
I think the courtesy can be extended at least to the governor's team. Yeah, and also I'm very keen on Senator Miraj.
Senator Miraj is below 35 years, so she still has the energy.
I'm expecting a twin one, so Senator Eddie, thank you so much.
You have the experience of fasting, so. Yeah. So anyone who feels that he needs more energy, the Sergeant at Arm is there. We'll be able to deal with. Auditor, proceed with that query.
Thank you, Chair. The audit issue is on use of casual employee in management of health management information system. Karatina Sub-County Hospital is operating a health management information system. The software is used for three major purposes in the hospital, namely point of sale for receiving of patients, tracking of patients and the billing of the inpatient at the point of discharge. Review of the operations revealed that the hospital relies on a casual employee who has been managing the system since July 2021. The casual employee is bestowed with the responsibility of managing both the hardware and the software in the hospital. In the circumstances, the effectiveness of management of the system could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, management response.
Kindly, Adam. Read the management response.
Yeah, His Excellency the Governor, our response is the hospital management take note of the matters raised in the audit. The hospital relies on the department ICT domicile at county headquarters for any major ICT needs. However, the officers are inadequate in setting the hospital to hire casual to support minor troubleshooting occurrence, who is supervised by the ICT department. In recognition of the critical role played by the ICT in improvement of service delivery, the hospital commits to embark on the following. 1, seek necessary approval from the County Public Service Board to engage an ICT officer on contractual basis at the facility level in the short run. 2, engage the ICT department to post a permanent staff at the facility level to handle ICT matters in the long run?
I think, Chair, I need to add that we have already hired these officers. They are already in office. And we have also integrated now whatever that system with our current Nyeri Pay, the one that we use for revenue collection. So there has been some advancements as from where we were in 2021.
Okay, Auditor, your comment on the response?
Thank you, Chair. The issue is partially addressed because of the high risk in the use of the cashew to maintain the system.
Yeah, that I agree. And maybe we will need to know the status of the other hospitals we have dealt with. The Nyeri Referral Hospital and Mount Kenya Hospital. Whether the systems are being operated by staff or cashews. Maybe, Governor, you can clarify on that as well.
There was indeed a challenge on cashews, and that is why, if you recall, the CEC Finance mentioned we have already hired 50 new revenue officers and have phased out the majority of those cashews so that we now have our own 3-year contract staff. Yeah. So it is ongoing. We have managed to address that.
This query is of interest, you know, serious. Because you was truly, before, he's not just a politician and a senator, but he's also a practicing ICT consultant.
Very good.
And especially on matters of hospital management system.
Yes.
And I know the risk involved in getting an staff member to manage your ICT system. A lot of data, personal data, is in that system.
Agreed.
And you know, again, it touches on the issue of law, the Data Protection Act. People's records must be protected. Private information must be protected. I worked for some hospital and some staff shared personal information with outsider on the HIV status of a patient, and it was a big issue to the hospital. So I think this is a very serious issue that Governor, you need to deal with. That if the hospital does not have the staff, the county has staff, ICT department, which can help in managing this system. Even management of the system by the provider, day-to-day management of the system, data by the provider is a big problem. The contracts must be very clear on the relationship between the provider of the system and day-to-day management of data. Senator Eddie?
Okay, Chair, your last statement is what pricked my conscience. My conscience initially when this issue was raised, because I wanted to just check on the procurement. You know, how was this system procured without putting in place the right personnel to handle it? Because if it was procured to be managed by, you know, the service provider for a certain period of time, and then perhaps do training and transfer of that handling of the system to the management, this ought to have been addressed immediately before even the system was procured. Ordinarily, that's the standard practice. You cannot procure this system and then realize, oh, we have a system here, we want anybody to manage. So what was the procurement process for this? And Chair, you've talked about very important part of data protection, data management, but also just efficiency of the system. Because when casual, at the best definition, is also just about is the casual a competent staff to handle that system, and therefore what also comes with the leakages. Because this also is the system that deals with billing. If I got it right, auditors? So if you're dealing with billing, is this person competent to deal with it? So one of the recommendations that I would make other than asking those so many questions, which I think that now because of low sugar that the governor has, I don't want to go into grilling, but Governor, you might be compelled. This is one of those things that might need you to take an immediate action. Not an issue of 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, but immediately the casual cannot continue handling this system. Because of exactly the issue of data protection, because of issue of possible loss of money, but more importantly, because of issue of privacy of the patients who are being clerked by this particular system. It has to be a compliant process. This one whereby you have got a E2E compliance. At procurement, the system is sober. At handling, the system is sober. At transfer, the system is sober. Who is even maintaining the system? Because the system might need regular maintenance and updates, right? Who is doing that? Is Akasha who is handling it. So this one, Chair, I think that you should just put a recommendation that the governor must immediately, one, make sure that it's being managed by a competent person, and then number two, I think one of the recommendations will be you must do an internal audit just to make sure that there aren't any issues of data leakages, there aren't any issues of billing leakages, so that even when you remove this particular casual, you are not exposed to any legal suits that might come because of some data that maybe were exposed or something. That legal compliance, I don't know whether the county attorney is here, but that legal compliance bit must also be done at the time that this new person is coming. And perhaps my advice would be, if that competent person is coming in place, the transition has to be properly done, including the handing over in terms of just being able to look at all the possible access points that have been here and the history of access that has been there to the extent that there's no porosity in terms of information leakages, because otherwise they can get into a lot of trouble, as the chair has indicated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, to add on to that, I don't know for these hospitals whether they are running different systems or is the same system. Because in the case of Mount Kenya, we saw the system called Medibos. So, which system is this?
Yes, Chair, through the governor, these hospitals run different systems, and there are two systems. There's Fansoft and there's Medibos. Mount Kenya Hospital and County Referral Hospital run Medibos, Odaya, Karatina, and Mukurweini, they run on Fansoft.
Now, from my experience, I would say Fansoft is a very, very outdated system. And it's only handling billing issues and a bit of cash. But, you know, in an hospital, you have other issues. You remember the query we looked at in terms of managing stores? Fansoft does not handle that. So I think, Governor, moving forward, you may need to consider having one system that interfaces all your hospitals.
Yeah, I think we had provided some money. I don't know for what.
Yeah.
Yeah, they told me that there is some money for a system.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
No,
I know there is a...
Through the chair, there is, in the current budget, there is budget for one system.
For a system.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to, and if in doubt of how you can benchmark with a hospital in your area, which I know I did some work for them, Karen Hospital in Nyeri, which is also linked to the main Karen Hospital and other hospitals around the country. And they have one system. So I think that brings us to the conclusion of Karatina. Honorable members, you remember we are only picking issues which are new. So we are now going to look at Mukurweini Sub-County Hospital. And in this case, with the Mukurweini, the query on non-disclosure of property, plant, and equipment, not addressed. That one we will look at. Budget control and performance, the same issues that we have discussed also apply here. Issues of underperformance. So matters that we discuss also apply here. The issue of lack of an internal audit function, we said we'll give an interim recommendation. Non-compliance with the health model. This one we had also talked about it and gave directions. Lack of risk management policy, we'll give a recommendation. So we are only going to look at the issue on non-disclosure of property, plant, and equipment. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. This is the report of the Auditor General on Mukurweini Sub-County Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. Basis for qualified opinion, non-disclosure of property, plant, and equipment. The financial statements provided for audit did not include the hospital's property, plant, and equipment as at 30th June 2022. However, physical verification carried revealed the hospital had assets with undetermined value that has not been disclosed in the financial statements. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of the financial statements could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, management response.
I will ask Catherine to take us through.
Catherine, through the governor.
Chair, through the governor, the response is as follows. The hospital has assets of undetermined value that include land, plant, and equipment. And according to the Public Sector Accounts and Standards Board guidelines on transition from cash to accrual basis, accounting 2023, the transition to accrual accounting requires careful planning and preparation. The following factors will ensure a seamless transition process. Staff capacity, nature of entities' operations, and availability, accuracy, and comprehensiveness of documentation surrounding the current processes. An entity has an option of transitioning to accrual accounting at one go, which is a big bang transition, or through a phased approach. The transition path taken by the entity will depend on the complexity, size, and scope of the entity. It is the decision of the entity to assess what transactions type should be transitioned first and the timing of the associated transition. On 10th May 2022, the Public Sector Accountants and Standards Board issued guidelines on the implementation of international public sector accounting standards for level 4 and 5 public hospitals in Kenya. Mukurweini Hospital has adopted the IPSAS accrual accounting standards while reporting their financial statements and reports for the period ended 30th June 2022, which covers the financial year 2021 and 2022. However, International Public Sector Accounting Standards, IPSAS 33, grants transitional exemptions to entity adopting accrual basis IPSAS for the first time. It allows first-time adopters 3 years to recognize specified assets and liabilities. This provision allows sufficient time to develop reliable models for recognizing and measuring assets and liabilities during the period. Mukurweini is in its first year of reporting in the management through the County Department of Health Services, is working on verification and costing and valuation of various assets like equipment, the furniture and fittings. And the exercise is expected to be concluded before the end of 3-year period allowed by IPSAS. Further, One challenge the hospital or the county is experiencing in recognition of some of their assets, like land and motor vehicles, is delayed handing over of these assets by the Intergovernmental Relation Technical Committee. On May 2024, the team from Intergovernmental Relation Technical Committee handed over motor vehicles and motorbikes to Nyeri County, and this will be captured in the financial statements for the financial year 2023-2024. According to Intergovernmental Relation Technical Committee, there will be another round of transfer of resources, including land and buildings and many other accessories from the national government to the county government. The valuation for fixed assets will cover parcels of land and buildings and is still in progress, and plans are underway to complete the pending work. Thus, the management will work closely with the county government of health and the county treasury to ensure that fixed assets such as land and buildings are properly valued. Without correct valuations, completeness and accuracy of the hospital's financial statements may not be achieved. It's therefore our hope that the Office of the Auditor General will consider allowing the 3-year exemption as indicated in IPSAS 33 to give sufficient time to develop reliable models for recognizing and measuring assets and liabilities during the transition period.
Hey, wow, that is the most comprehensive response. Eh? But requesting for 3-year period is at all order. Proceed. What is your comment on the response?
A response has been verified, but it is not satisfactory to the extent of not complying with the IPSAS requirements. And we agree that we can be able to check that in the future audit, which is scheduled. Now, IPSAS 33 provides for first time and option, as they are stating. Thank you.
So do they have an asset register? Because the query implies they have an asset register, but it doesn't have determined values.
The major issue is now the valuation element. They have not valued the assets, therefore you can't attach any measurement to it. Thank you.
So, members? I think, Governor, this is a matter that you need to speed up with the IGRTC to ensure that all the assets of the hospital belong to the hospital.
Chair.
Land and all those things.
Thank you.
Chair, yes. Even before the governor, you come in, sorry. It's also very important that the list documents should be issued to the auditors so that they can be able to verify and also review the status of the same list documents. It's very important. Secondly, this committee has also met with the IGRTC, and I've seen in the response one of the challenges, blah, blah, blah. Then you say that by handed over motor vehicles and bikes to Nyeri County, and this will be captured in the financial statement. So it means they're doing their job. They've handed over the bikes and the vehicles. So why are you not asking them to hand over the other assets? Because they've done it, knowing that it's their mandate. Why are they handing over this and not handing over these other assets? Why are you not pushing for that?
The governor is understands these issues.
Thank you, Chair.
Can guide us.
With the coming in of the Kenya Kwanza government, IGRTC demanded that they needed 98 million to be able to finish the exercise of separation and allocation of all functions and equipment. With that money, I think, was provided, but and the IGRTC went further ahead to Gazette, which was then pulled down again, and we are now in the same situation that we were. We were focused on ensuring that we have devolved all the functions, plus also this matter. There was the element which is still pending of paying for valuation, because we ended up realizing it was going to be a very huge burden to counties, and it was, our proposal was that it be taken over by IGRTC. We are still stuck at that. Maybe this is one of the reasons why we are stuck where we are, unless, I don't know, because I may benefit from the presence of many accountants and auditors. Is it allowed to use estimated values? Because we could simply go to our hospitals and find, we know what is our land, to give it value, that, you know, because if we have to meet what we have just been asked to do by the auditors, then that would mean, considering we have to provide money to do valuation, we may not have the money, but is it an acceptable accounting principle to have values that are estimates? Because if we could, I think that would solve the problem, and we progress, and then correct the values as we progress.
Senator Eddy.
Governor, I wish that for this particular question, you are the one who responded.
Yes.
Because you have really hit what the question really wanted. Like, the issue here, you know, whether you are on cash or accrual basis, you are using these assets. And at the end of every financial year, you want to look at, for instance, if the vehicle has a problem, has a breakdown, who finances the servicing of that vehicle? It is you. It has got nothing to do with the previous owner. So yes, the previous owner is substantive to the extent of having the deeds, the relevant deeds, transferred to the county. But in terms of operation, and the accountants, you are disappointing the governor. Are you an accountant? Are you in good standing? That one is Tabitha to look at. This is the thing. Governor, I wanted to advise. I'm just going to give you an advice. Perhaps auditors will give better advice than me. But I'm just giving a financial practice advice. You see, this thing you're being asked accountants to develop called financial statements. I'm begging you, for the sake of Nyeri, make them make sense to you first, not to the governor, to you as a practicing person, because you are either operating with the assets that you own, or you are operating with assets that you don't own. If you don't own an asset, you must have an arrangement with the owner, even if they haven't given it to you. In a classical private sector, you'll either be having this thing in terms of a lease. And lease could be real or not. So you can have an operating lease or a capital lease. One of them is whereby you are hoping that you'll eventually be able to own those assets. And therefore it's like a purchase, you are paying for them so that eventually you'll own them. But others is you are renting them in perpetuity. That is the only way you can be able to account for their usage in your books. So what the government is talking about is very important. You must be able to run a register, and in that register you must have values of these assets. Whether you're not going to estimate it or actually do a proper valuation, that is up to the government to determine depending on the cost that's going to arise. But you cannot assume that because you're using them and they're not owned by you, they don't have value. That's the fundamental issue. So I think my advice, Chair, is that whichever means you're going to use, determine value of these assets, so that by the time you are doing your financial statement at the end of the year, they can be able to have a good reflection of how much they are costing you to have in their books. Because by my view, Chair, and we've had this in a number of issues in municipalities that were have been acquiring some of these assets. My view is this, Governor. If this process of transition takes too long, and then at the end of it you are getting some dilapidated assets that won't even help you, you should be able to sit as an executive and say, this and this asset we will take, but this and this will even be too expensive for us to dispose, right? At a time that this deal will be done. but you have a basis that you actually did value them and quantify them. So I think that the valuation question is the biggest question here. And that is something that I might not have the authority to tell you that go and use the money for the county to do the valuation or to estimate. I think there is an advice on that. But whichever means possible, the value of those assets must reflect here.
Yeah, I think you have guided well. I think, Governor, you need to put in place a mechanism to value these assets, have them transferred, because these assets are helping you run the hospitals. They are generating money for you. So they cannot just be left undetermined for long. That will imply that your financial records are not reliable, because a critical component of your financial record is not determined, and his ownership is not determined. So the statements are not reliable. That's what it implies.
Thank you, Chair. I think we are well guided, but let us also agree in this meeting that we shall have 3 sets. There are those fully owned by the county, which I bought or somebody else bought. There are those that have been transferred, and that there are those that we are using whose ownership is still in doubt, so that we have those 3 sets of equipment. And we also agree, let's give them some value. Let's give them some value, regardless of whether it is the actual, it is whatever it will be. You know, considering that even in, you are the accountants, I think there is something you call devaluation and whatever, all this depreciation, all these kind of things. My thinking is that we shouldn't just stick there and wait for IGRTC. For your information, Chair, IGRTC is now not even concerned about that. It is concerned about getting more power and getting COG out of the way. You have seen what they have brought in your office. So I think you better focus. Let's look at it and see. They don't want to, in fact, they want to become the Secretariat of Governors. If you remember, there was this issue about removing COG from the funding of the Exchequer and all those kind of things. So those IGRTC seems to be now not walking in the direction that they should, and seem to be walking backwards and clawing back on what we
devolution.
have.
Yeah, clawing back on devolution. Just quickly to the auditors, who signed the financial statements for this hospital? Mukurweini. Auditors.
Sorry, through the chair, we have the number 18296.
No, who?
We have a signature, the name.
Oh, 18296.
Yes.
No name?
No name.
Okay, is that for you, Catherine? Be on record.
Through, Chair, through the governor, yes, it's mine.
And do you have one CPA, James Karani Maina?
Sorry?
Do you have a colleague, James Maina?
Yes, I
Karani,
do.
is he here?
Yes, he is.
On record, Maina? Oh, it's the same gentleman. Yes. It's okay. Just leave it. Just leave it. Because I just noted, and I'm very happy, as a female legislator, to note that the female accountants are in very good standing and very active. So I think you should put more women. The women that you pay for, they are adhering to these standards. So big up, Catherine. That is very good. But that does not let you not adhere to these accounting standards and guidelines moving forward. Sawa. Okay.
Is it possible, Chair, to check whether in 2021 he was in good standing? Or has he continued? Because he could be in good standing then now today he is in bad standing.
No, women don't have these problems.
I'm only
Just leave it there, Governor.
About this bad guy. Was he good in 2021?
He's not really a bad guy. One thing, bad standing, because one thing I liked is that he owned up and he accepted, and we are positive that he's going to ensure that he's in good standing. That is what is important.
And this is the first time they are appearing in Senate on this matter.
Now they know.
So next time they will do better. CEC Finance, you wanted to say something?
Okay, thank you, Chair. Through the Governor, I want to appreciate your advice and concerns and encouragement on the on the way IGTRC has been handling the transfer of assets and liabilities to the counties. And I think one of the main concerns is even documentation. I know we have been trying to follow up on issues like motor vehicles, but what they do is they have been giving us photocopies of documents. We cannot dispose of that particular asset, even if you wanted to raise revenue. The new item is depreciating. So I think I'm just appealing to Senate, through the chair, to possibly support the governor, get the ownership properly in the county's name, so that we can make proper decisions. Because even for us to get into the evaluation process, I think it would only be safe if they are in our names or in the county government's name. It would be a bit tricky for us to get into that process of even valuing the assets, yet we are not very sure that we shall get them. I think I just wanted to emphasize on the issue of ownership, documentation that would support the ownership.
That's okay, finance, that's fine. But I earlier said also issue those list documentations for verification. Verification means maybe they are not even as, sorry to say, Governor put it, like they are held in trust, so they are just verifying. For purposes of clarifying to this committee, the auditors would need that with the current name in place for the hospital or not, but just for verification process, that the verification has been done for these documents. You could be talking of 8 acres of land under Mr. Njogona, and yet the information that you submitted, we cannot verify because the documents have not been verified. So it is very important because you must be having the copies of the documents. It's just a verification process that is important.
Through the chair, through the governor and the chair, that we agree. And I totally agree. I was just requesting that Senate helps the counties own these documents.
Yeah, you are in the right committee. Yes. Point is home, well taken. Those are some of the issues, Governor, you had me saying when you raised the issue of 400.1 billion that senators were really fighting. But there's very minimal engagement between the governors and the senators. It's too much wars and fights here and there until we lose the focus, because we are privileged to be in this audit committee and there are counterparts at PAC, because we come and understand the real issues of the challenges that you are honestly facing. And that's why myself and Senator Eddie are able to pin the minister when it comes to a reduction of 20 billion, and Treasury cannot explain reason as to why they are removing from 400 to 380, because we sit here and we understand, because we have first-hand information on some of these issues. That's the difference, but it requires further engagement for fact. It's not about who has power, who has what. Yes, in Senate we are the final. We are going to go for mediation on this, but there needs to be engagement. And we also need to see you ensuring that your books are correct. That's why we are pushing, because you'll task us. The other side, they are saying you have a lot of pending bills. You are traveling all over the country. Your expenditure is too high. It's really demotivating. What is your pending bill, Governor?
Currently.
The current one. The current one, that is for the last financial, is about 203 million.
And it only accrued because we didn't get June.
It's delayed. You're getting money.
We tried to pay. But I agree, Chair, while the Senate and the governors must work closely together.
The issues of 2027 are usually the big problem. And I have never known why. Because some of us are exiting, others will come. So when we talk about giving 400.1 billion, it's not going to Mutahi Kahiga, it's going to the people of Nyeri and Kenya. And if you ask me, if devolution succeeds, even at the national level, there will be stability. But when there is so much, like right now, 3 months without salaries for our staff, that one has a huge, huge impact in the counties, because that money is spent within the counties. They hire people, they do what, and there is generally, the economy doesn't grow at that level. So we really agree, and I agree with the Honorable Tabitha, that yes, we need to engage further. I have tried my level best, and many, those of us who are thinking, right thinking, without seeing, of course, opponents in the Senate. And I remind governors every time we stand that whether it is a senator or not, utapingwa tu, hata wewe ulipingana.
So I think we need to make progress. We have come to the end of
Chair.
Mukurweini.
Chair.
So we want to go to Odaya. What is it?
Chair, we haven't come to the end. This issue of assets, I think I'm forgetting.
I thought you are the one who gave us the way forward.
No, I did. But I'm just saying, because of what the CEC has talked about, which is the cost of valuation on what you don't own, which is substantial, is a substantial response. But Chair, because of the Chair, don't we have a sunset clause in the RTG? IGRTC. That's the name. I thought we have got sunset clauses on when they must start and when they must end. And if there is not those substantive times in terms of when the asset can actually be able to transferred, don't we have individualized agreements on particular assets that even you as a county can be able to demand that, if this asset is not transferred by this date, therefore these actions would be able to, those simple agreements could also be able to help alleviate some of these overly, stretched conversations. Because I think that if the governor is indicating that there are assets that the county has bought, there are those that have been transferred, there are those that are pending. If the county has the capacity of buying some assets that are more agile and more, efficient and effective, then probably some agreement that are able to push these things to the edge of this and the sunset. And I know that the attorney is here, but the attorney can be able to guide us whether we've got some sunset clauses with this transition. Because we can't have this conversation in perpetuity. We were talking about the same things when we're considering water. The same animal was in the room. And I can assure you that even after our report, it will still come in the room.
My view about all these things, because we experienced the same problem when we were dealing with the water companies. We are now experiencing with the hospitals. We are experiencing the same with the county entities, county corporation, the same thing. I think IGRT is toothless from what we have seen. They are unable to get some things done because they don't have a sound legal basis to do some of these things, but they exist and they continue to draw money from the exchequer. I think, in my view, the Senate should take up that space and deal with all the issues. And the committee that is supposed to do that is a devolution committee. They need to pick up these things and present this thing to us. Transfer of functions. Why are we leaving it to some other bodies which don't have the teeth to bite?
The devolution committee needs to take up this matter, present reports to us, we pass in the Senate, and we have these things done. We should not be taken in circles the way we counties are being taken in circles. Yeah, I wish I was the chair of devolution committee. I would have handled that. But in any case, the legal officer, you have been asked to give an advice.
Through the chair, it's just what you said. I'm just looking at the IGR, Intergovernmental Technical Relations Act. There is no timeline within which they ought to transfer these assets and liabilities to the county. However, as you mentioned, those specific legislation like touching on water all have clauses where they also don't have timelines, but they have provisions where this body is mandated to be transferring these assets and liabilities to the committee. Because you also looked at this when you are doing about the water bodies here, but there is nothing in the law. I've just been reading the act. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
With your permission.
Just to report, there is an amendment, sorry, Chair, before the devolution committee. I think they were looking at it the other day, and one of the provisions that you mentioned is in there, but I'm not quite sure. I cannot report on how far we've gone on that.
I have my county attorney here.
County attorney.
Chair, through the governor, I think our problem started with the transition authority. All this was to be done by the transition authority, and that is what
Any? I don't think you've spoken so much.
For the governor from Lima, just to really appreciate, we've really walked a journey, especially on also apart from this committee. On the other side, you're very active, and one thing I appreciate is that most of the recommendations we've given to you, we've seen positivity, and we are sure and we're optimistic that most of these issues you're going to address. Remember, when it came to the water issues, you set the bar higher, and a lot of issues were resolved. We are happy, and we hope the same shall happen. I know that next 2 weeks will be tough for you. You're strong. Keep being strong. We, the young people, are looking upon you. We just hope that this country will continue being stable, because most people are looking upon you, especially you, the governor of Nyeri, to be more specific. But since I'm comparing on how we've articulated issues at this particular working level, we hope and pray that it shall be well. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Senator Amida.
Let me just spare Governor, let me spare him the energy. I'm sure his sugar level has gone down. Let me just... Nataka kumchokoza kidogo, naambia Mrima mambo inapanda sahi. Naona karibuni, kwa hivyo acha nikupatie. Ndio.
Senator Miraj.
Asante mwenyekiti, si unajua mimi ni mtu wa sheria. Nisingezungumza bila idhini yako. Yangu ni kumpongeza gavana kwa kuweza kufika, kwa sababu magavana wengine hutoroka kamati yetu, na hata wakija hapa wanajibizana vibaya. Nashukuru umekuwa muungwana, umefika na umeona yale ambayo wafanyikazi wako wameendelea kufanya. Wasia wangu ni kwamba ufate tu sheria ya Public Finance Management Act, uangalie performer contracting, kwa sababu hapo zamani ilikuwa mimi ni permanent and pensionable. Nitafanya makosa kwa department hii, niende department nyingine kwa sababu I'm entitled to the PP. Lakini kwa sababu umeona yale ambayo yameibuka katika kikao hiki, ingekuwa vyema ukae na wao ili wananchi wa Mrima, kama vile mnaongea mnasema isiguswe, waweze kupata huduma nzuri na kwa wakati mzuri. Asante mwenyekiti.
Okay, Governor, now is your turn.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to appreciate the members of your committee and yourself. I have never shied away from appearing before your committee, because I believe you are one of the committees that are very thorough and remain focused. As we absorb all that you have said, mine is just to say that we must encourage all of us to remember that no matter where we are all Kenyans. And we need to think about this nation. We agree that it is acceptable for auditors to inform us when they are coming for an audit, because there is nothing to hide. They engage with us in entry meetings and exit meetings, and we are able to share out. What they have not told you is that the people who came last time to do all this didn't come from Nyeri. They came from outside the county, and we were well aware of that we realized that the team that came was not the team that was there. So as much as we have been found with all these issues not being as they should, our promise is to go and make things better, because this is a learning experience. We all agree that this team, especially this is the first time hospitals have been audited, and for that we'll go and it's a learning experience. I also sometimes want to ask, I have had the opportunity to sit here, be interrogated, and we go through these matters very seriously. Are we doing the same for Andani and those other criminal things we hear in this country? Or are we just focusing, because we must say this, there is an obsession in this country to focus on the 15% that goes to counties, while there is 85% hanging somewhere that nobody ever bothers to really question. It is there that you're going to find the fertilizer scandals, the Adani stories we are hearing, and many others. And my thinking is that this Senate, and especially the way you people go down to details, must, whether broad-based or narrow-based, you must ensure, because the bigger loss is not even with counties. It's happening out there, isn't it? So mine is just to say, I think we need to be, I appreciate this committee so much. I appreciate the park. Let's as much as we focus on the 15%, let us ask ourselves, we see harrowing stories from the AOG when they do their, we see so many of them. I do not know whether it is yourselves or the parliament, the other National Assembly who should. But anyway, last but not least, I am celebrating the fall of the CDF. And I'm very happy about it. Because CDF does not exist in law. You are well aware it has been used to emasculate counties, the RMLF, where we have struggled. And if they were to bring it back, then let them bring it back to the senators. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Chair, I didn't intend to talk. No. But I just want on this issue of CDF. It's a very serious issue, by the way. There's an issue of principle. And this is the issue of principle that I strongly believe in. You're a very serious governor in the COG. The principle should be this. Any money that has been removed from the center, outward, devolved to or decentralized to any units to the people, should never find its way back. That's the first principle. So I do agree with you that we celebrate that it's not constitutional to the National Assembly. But it opens up a very serious conversation that I think governors must deliberately engage in. Where must this money go? Because the next 2 years, the National Assembly, because it affects them, are going to have a more deliberate and intentional conversation about this money that then might either go back to them or go back to the national coffers. So we must actually be able to partner on this conversation, and COG must be deliberate in terms of both influencing legislation and public participation and public engagements on where this money must sit. And the fundamental issue is this: it must never go back to national. Yes, we agree and constitutional, but it must never go back to national coffers by all means possible. So as senators, we will be doing the same thing. We are legislatures, so we are there for oversighters. It would be bad for us to have that money. But I think that it should come somewhere in the counties and be anchored somewhere. But it's something that will not happen if we don't fight legally and make sure that by 2026, we've got a very good roadmap about this. That's a serious feedback I wanted to give you that you must give to the COG.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Governor, for, first of all, honoring our invitation to appear before us. I'm sure you have had a very useful engagement with this committee on matters of your hospitals. Indeed, this is the very first time the Senate is engaging on matters to do with financial records of hospitals. And we think that moving forward, we are going to see a substantial rise in our own source revenue, because hospitals contribute a large percentage of own source revenue. So with the proper management, with accountability, and with the Senate performing this role, we would begin to see a rise in own source revenue, which is going to be something good for our counties. The issues, they are similar to other counties, and we expect that when you go back from this engagement, you will be able to deal with those gaps that we have noted, so that in the subsequent engagement on the audit report, we will begin to see huge improvements in that area. We value the engagement we have with the governors, and we want to enhance this relationship because our role as people who perform oversight adds on to your role as people who implement programs and projects on the ground. On the matter of CDF, I think I must applaud the courts that they have said Senate should be involved, should be consulted on any subsequent plans they have. And I know that they are contemplating coming up with another legislation. We say that legislation will not be constitutional until Senate is consulted.
And all pieces of legislation that the National Assembly is coming up with, they must consult the Senate. There must be concurrency with the Senate. We are saying that CDF is not just CDF in itself. The concept is not unconstitutional. It is constitutional. But the way it's being managed is unconstitutional. You cannot be the one implementing a program and at the same time you are supposed to oversight. The same thing. The same thing applies to roads. You cannot be the one providing, appropriating money to the roads and you want to implement the roads and you want to oversight the same road. It's not possible. I think the court's decision, in my view, is good for this country. CDF is a good idea that should go on, but the way it's being managed is what is causing concern. If it comes to counties, so that all of us, the members of the Senate and members of the National Assembly, we all perform the oversight role on it, then that will be the best way to go. Governor, I thank you for coming. I hear you want to be the chairperson of COG. We wish you well, because that is another area that we need good leadership, a leadership that is not in bed with the executive, a leadership that can take a stand all the time. And you know, I'm talking as a deputy party leader of ODM. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
I will ask you to talk to your ODM governors.
So the meeting is adjourned until tomorrow, 10 a.m.